Okay, so my question to you is, in the Ankh reality, since I'm in a projectile format and I have 42 years just sitting here waiting for rescue to arrive while being under complete erasure off of the human companionship, and forced in all sorts of situations on the surface that look really horrific that I never wanted to enter or be forced down that path. But here we are in America, the union of shitbags, along with the Warren Thompson and Elon Musks of the world. Okay, so now Warren and I are laying clothed at 20-something McKinley Drive, or McKinley whatever, in Farmingville, New York, I forget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, I'm just laying, he asked me, fully clothed, to lay on the bed next to him. He had a laptop, so I did. This was after... Like, I got there, and he's like, I'm, like, really freaking out right now. And I was like, what do you mean you're really freaking out right now? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I think my ex-girlfriend, she's, like, a really tall, Nordic, she looks like the angel of death. She's walking around the backyard with a gun. I'm like, what? He's like, did you see anybody when you came in? I was like, no. I was like, what's going on? I was like, why are you, like... I mean, I get it. You're all hopped up. He's like, what if I told you I just smoke crack? And I'm like, right. Is that the effects? Is you get all jumpy? I was like, okay. So I was like, you're going to have to walk me through this, Warren. Like, I was not walking in here expecting this. So, like, right, got it. Okay, tall, scary chick with a gun outside. You smoke some kind of drug that makes you jittery. Anything else I need to know? Like, what do you want from me? He's like, why are you so calm? I'm like, because I didn't smoke jittery drugs, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on at the moment with you. And he was like, right. He's like, are you always this, like, calm, cool, and collected in emergencies? And I'm like, normally, yeah. I was like, because I try to assess the situation and then calculate out the best route and, like, but based on what's going on in the environment around me. And he was like, right. He's like, you know that, like, that's not how normal, like, that's not how I work. And I'm like, I have no idea how you work. Like, I know I'm not like you. I was like, I just don't have any idea how you function. Like, I know you're, like, an interactive project like the rest of them, but no idea. It's like a curiosity thing. Honestly, I guess on my part, while I'm just sitting around doing nothing, waiting for, like, the one that I was built and born for to finally get through, like, his point-driven home. I mean, and come for me, but it hasn't happened. And, that was, like, I think 2008 or 2007 or 2008 is when I met Warren. And then he was like, okay, he's like, do me a favor. He's like, I need some of your, like, energy of, like, a calm, like, Zen, Om, whatever you got going on. He's like, because, like, I really scared myself. And I'm like, right, okay. He's like, if I get my work laptop, will you lay next to me, fully clothed, he said, for the record, and just, like, help calm me down in the set, not touching me. He says, but just, so this way, because he's like, I need you to talk me through some stuff. And I'm like, right, okay. So I laid on one side of the bed, like in a coffin position, as if there was a partition between the two of us. He laid on the other side. And he's like, okay, what if I told you I work for a drug company? I'm like, what is it? I was like the crack drug? Like the one that you smoked that got all jittery? And he's like, no. He goes, forget that. He's like, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm like, he's like, that's something else. I'm like, oh. Okay. I was like, well, pharmaceutical, like how, Warren? Like, are you, he's like big name pharma. I'm like, okay, you mean like stock market, like Merck or Pfizer, like Beecham Klein, one of those? And he's like, yes, exactly. He says, what if I told you that I took a pill and now I can see clearly, like the Matrix. So you see the movie Matrix? I'm like, I did. I was like, I just really don't remember it. He's like, right. He's like, okay. He's like, well, I was like, I thought you worked for BULBTRONICS, BULBTRONICS. I was like, isn't that, I thought you work in lighting schematics and that, I mean, like, you packed a bag and you went over. He's like, right. He's like, but I bought a house through you. He's like, didn't you go through my financials and my records and look at my pay stubs and like do any research on me? I was like, no. I was like, that's what the mortgage guys do. I just ask you, I assess what your needs are for housing and lodging. And then I go into a database, I pull it up. And then we go around and you tell me what looks good to you and what you can afford. I said, but the mortgage guys, they have a separate, like they've got a charter license and all sorts of stuff that they have to go through. I was like, I'm like totally different. And he's like, oh, he's like, so you didn't like look at how much I make a year and all this stuff? I go, no, why would I? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I just thought that women like to track men and they won't spend time with them unless they know how much they make. And I'm like, again, Warren, we're going into like women being a plural of a subset of the same as you being male of that assortment. I was like, I don't function like either of you. And he's like, right, actually, that actually takes me back to what my original question was. And I was like, uh-huh. He's like, so what are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a name for what I am. And he's like, what if, like, other people do? He's like, but they don't know how to approach you. And I'm like, right. I was like, no, why wouldn't they know how to approach me? He's like, right, that's a good question. He's like, because you were really easy for me to approach, and you're friendly and whatever, tolerant. I'm like, uh-huh. And he's like, right, yeah, I don't know. He's like, he's like, what if I told you that there's a way to, like, peer into your future because you're so special, and people have done that, and then they got in big trouble. I'm like, okay. I was like, got it. He's like, so he's like, you don't even dispute it. He's like, you just like what? Like you just somewhere know that it's possible? And I'm like, well, I know it's true. I mean, I just don't know who these people are. Like, I don't have names or anything. He's like, right. He's like, but the people who have this ability or job, whatever, he's like, that are able to see into the future. Right. He's like, why would they kill them? And I'm like, well, that's a good question. It all depends on what their actions are after they've seen whatever is going on. Like, did I need help? Am I going to be okay in the future? Like, does the world and life get better for me? And he's like, he started laughing. He's like, right. Of course, it would have to do with you. And I'm like, who else do you think it would do with, since I'm the one who has the capability of a future? There are people who are able to tap into my future reality. I was like, and my quality of life is like utmost important in that thought pattern and train. Is it not? Why would I bring in Warren's quality of life if I need to make sure that Nicole is safe? He's like, right, because, again, if I'm the future that you can see, my needs are important, because then that links into other things between I'm different than humans. And he's like, right. And I said, without my being safe, there's no safety for your subset of whatever you and women are, the male and women population of whatever we're in. He's like, right, okay. He's like, I'm gonna have to think about that one. He's like, and I was like, well, at least you seem more calm. And he's like, actually, yeah. He says, that actually had a really calming effect on me. I'm like, okay. So now, this was 2007, 2008. He came to me, and I know I helped him pack a suitcase. I was at the house the day that he needed to go to Munich MUNIC internationally. I watched him leave. He called me from international. He called my cell phone. So I know I can receive international calls. I think that was one of the excuses the Pan-Asian children were making, the children of the corn over by the Kremlin side. I call them, well, I don't even give them gremlin status because they pretend that they're like Gizmo, like the soft little cuddly things, and you're like, if you only knew how evil they are underneath. All right, so now, in massive quantity, no less, lying to all the good white and dark-skinned children over here. We're going to leave heavy on the mustache children over here for a minute because they got their own issues over in that half of the world. So let's think about this. Right, so BULBTRONICS, it was like Warren at Bulb or whatever at Yahoo, I think. I hung out with him for a while. I took him to one of my award dinners. I think we went with Kelly and Rebecca, Luke, and Kelly Jackson, who were the broker owners. I had won some kind of award for Remax for the sales. Maybe that was 2008 or 2009, because I won it both years. And I invited one